May 23rd, 2021, a time that, for me, seems to have been years ago. A lot of great things happened then. My Tekken 7 Lee Chaolan video came out. It was fun to make, and you guys seemed to enjoy it, with it getting like 1,000 views relatively quickly. But I had some technical difficulties back then that prevented me from being able to continue the series. And with my renewed sense of hype following the release of Tekken 8, I think it's time to cover the fighting style of a fan-favorite character that's been in the series for a while now, Robert Richards, or my man Bob. Bob is the national anthem of fat guys everywhere that just want to kick ass. His style of martial arts is listed as Freestyle Karate, which, judging by the looks of it, is a mix of generic Shotokan, maybe spliced with a bit of Goju Ryu from the Mishima Karate influence, tricking with all his flips and spins, and fighting using his natural body shape and weight. First things first though, let's talk about his stance. So his footing appears to follow the conventional orthodox dachi of basic karate, left foot forward, toe pointed towards the target, and right foot to the rear with the toes angled off at about a 45-degree angle. That footing's pretty solid, but I'm not a fan of his guard. The rear hand is great, hand close to the face to defend his head, maybe could stand to be a bit closer, and the elbows flared out to help defend against kicks to the body, which probably isn't actually that much of a problem for Bob given his protective shielding on his body, but I do not like that left hand. It's too low to be used to reliably defend the face, but his body isn't bladed enough for it to be used for a jab or a flicker jab that well either. So not a big fan of that part of the stance because it's open to power shot punches, but overall pretty solid regardless. Okay, now let's talk about the moves. I'll review a group of techniques Bob has in his moveset and talk about their possible efficacy and proximity to real karate. Starting with his 10-hit combo, a great example of each character's ability to seamlessly mix together a bunch of their moves into a combo, we've got a right hand chop into a left jab, into a right hand spinning back fist, into an uppercut with the right hand, into a left downward elbow, into another right hand uppercut, into a low left leg kick on the ground, into an uppercut left elbow, into a right backhand, finishing with a sideways trick flip into a butt slam. Obviously, the butt slam is just not a good idea practically, even if it's a good way to effectively offensively use weight, since it leaves you too open and it's almost sure to miss even when mixed into the rest of the combo, but the rest is really good. Starting with the right hand chop instead of the left hand jab is a bold choice, and I would probably reverse the order myself, using the jab to set up the bigger power move, similarly to the idea of a 1-2 punch, but it could definitely work and, as it is a great way to set up for the spinning back fist. The opponent dodges or blocks the chop, you stop their counter and set up your next strike with a left jab, then you both hit with a powerful spinning back fist right after, and resolve your stance and advance your position with the spin. A right hand uppercut from a right hand spinning back fist might be a bit difficult to pull off since all the momentum from your spin is working against your uppercut, but if you can use that momentum to ground yourself and then spring into the uppercut by pushing off of the ground, it could work. Especially when followed by a downward left elbow, since the uppercut puts you in a perfect position to follow with a downward strike, and after that spin and uppercut, you're bound to be pretty close. Something of note here, the variety, angles, and level changing of the strikes in this combo really help to keep the opponent guessing, and to allow for bigger power shots due to the constant pressure. As if it wasn't bad enough that the spinning back fist helps you to spring into the uppercut, which sends the opponent straight into your downward elbow, the opponent then gets sent by the elbow immediately into another right uppercut, which you're in a perfect position to do again because of the elbow. The fluidity of Bob's combos is really great. And he just keeps it going by using the momentum of the right uppercut to spin upward and drop into a low crouch while kicking the leg and using the ground for support and balance. That maneuver is a little complicated. Spinning a lot can be both taxing fatigue-wise and can make you dizzy. You've got to have a good sense of balance to execute that spin into a drop. And I don't like the idea of dropping down like that because it makes your head very easy to kick. But seeing as Bob almost immediately springs into an upper left elbow, I'd say it's fine unless the spin telegraphs the drop too much or you lag down there for too long while leg kicking. And that spring gives the elbow a lot of power. Finally, he finishes the combo with a quick right back fist and the butt slam, which could easily be swapped out for a Superman punch for a stellar combination. 10-hit combo 2 is a bit shorter, but let's give it a look and then cover his takedown game. So a right hand chop to a sweeping double leg kick to a double cartwheel kick to an overhead downward trick kick. Huh. Well, I like how fast and succinct it is. And if you have the acrobatic ability to make it work, it could be a solid combo, but it starts very slow with the power right hand into a double leg kick, and there are a lot of points of failure, like how if you can't swing through with the double leg sweep, you're dead in the water. If you miss with the cartwheel kick, you're in a super vulnerable position, and God knows I can't trick like that, so I would just swap it with a jumping axe kick, which leaves you vulnerable by virtue of spending time in the air. That said, I'm a big fan of the level changing. It's constant. An overhead strike into a leg sweep to a cartwheel head kick to the overhead trick kick. Almost like the last kick stays high just when one could possibly see the pattern of high to low and try to preempt it. Great idea, but the execution is a little rough. Quarter deck is a great striker throw and very karate flavored. Yank the opponent towards you, elbow them in the face with the added power of their forward momentum, yank them back again, and this time do a foot sweep. More high-low action to keep unpredictable, lots of power from the momentum. An elbow strike is a great karate move not often enough associated with the style and is perfect for that range and likely has a high success rate. And the foot sweep is just classic Japanese martial arts takedown technique, textbook stuff. As for Cooler Shaker, the angle of the finishing kick seems a little janky. I'll have to test it out myself to see, but the elbow arm lock against the shoulder is very nice, very jujutsu. Another great example of Bob's combination fluidity is his sample combo 1. The jumping front kick is strange as a starter since there's always a risk with jumping attacks since you're airborne and can't move around or defend against takedowns, but its trade-off is of course power, and it does help that Bob chooses the lead leg to kick with, so less power but much faster, and I do really like the knee to Mawashi Giri he follows with. The final double axe handle downward strike to an upward strike is an abnormal strike that leaves you open and has low success rate because it's easily telegraphed, but it's got immense power, making it a combo ender helps with the telegraphing, and a great power move like that is great as a combo finisher that Bob actually doubles up on rather than just doing the downward sledgehammer strike. Sample Combo 2 is another example of just how well Bob's style mixes both power and combinations. As a counter-strike, he performs a switch kick with his lead leg, sacrificing a smidge of that lead leg speed for rear leg power. That can be dangerous as a counter since the switch kick does take longer, but the opposite side of that argument is if your lead leg Megiri isn't strong enough, your counter will fail and you'll be getting attacked while balancing on one leg. He follows with a right body palm strike to a right straight to the head to a knee to the body, which chambers his leg into a Mawashi Giri. This portion is really well done. His palm thrust to the body is low and starts near the hip, something better done mid-combo since there's less of a chance you'll get smashed in the face mid-offensive, and then he rotates his shoulder into the Seikensuki. Most modern combat sports almost exclusively favor alternating side combos, so 1-2s, left-right kicks, etc., since you typically want to use one side to make a quick attack to feint, gauge distance, or test reflexes since it's closer to the opponent, and then you use the mechanics of your body to use the other side to land your power shot with all the momentum of traveling from the other side of your body, so this part definitely pays proper homage to karate's traditional roots, even a more kickboxing-like freestyle sport karate, and he continues that trend with a right knee to the body that puts him in a position to then perform a right roundhouse kick to the head. A technique we saw earlier and a veritable fight ender in of itself, but the combo doesn't even end there. If by the grace of God Bob's opponent is still standing after taking a Seikensuki or a Gyakuzuki to the chin, and then a roundhouse kick to the head right after, he dashes in, does an almost sliding sweeping kick, and then drops his weight, his full weight, into a simple push from Shikodachi, one of the most grounded and solid stances in all of karate. The sweeping kick is definitely going to take a person off their feet after the onslaught they had just taken up to that point, even accounting for some of these techniques not landing, but that push at the end is just diabolical. Separating it from Bob for a second, which this is probably the best use of his weight and body type we've seen yet, aside from of course the natural power that comes from this kind of mass. Even if someone much lighter than him did this, imagine it. You went for a strike, a jab or a leg kick if you're trained, probably a power right or a haymaker if you're not, and you get lead leg switch kicked. So if you were punching, you just got outranged, and if you were lead leg kicking the front leg, as most people do, your target is now crashing into your stomach. If you went for the back leg, you were probably too close for anyone worth their salt to try to counter with a kick anyway, but you might have gotten a sweep there, good job. For everyone else, you then get palm thrusted in the body and then almost immediately clocked right in the face, about as fast as a 1-2 give or take. Let's say you've got stellar reactions and you were able to block the kick and even the palm thrust. Odds are you aren't fast enough to counter before you get level changed on and rocked from the straight right. Especially being that level change is going to make your reaction speed take a hit due to your having to consciously register that he's no longer attacking the same area. Even with exceptional response time, a triple level change is eventually going to catch you. Whether it's the Jodan Shokozuki or the knee to the body right after, or the Mawashi Giri to the head after that, one's eventually gonna land. And if the Chokusuki hits, that's gonna be trouble if your chin isn't so good. If the knee lands, that's gonna hurt, but you'll probably be fine since you're not being grabbed and driven into it. But that head kick is gonna send you to sleep if you don't avoid it. Now, here at the end, you've avoided some hits, taken some others. Best case scenario, you've probably got hit with the switch kick counter, the body palm thrust, and the knee. A little bit of body damage, but nothing to the chin. Then the guy shoots in, you probably think he's going for a takedown, he sweeps you, you're gonna have to either use jiu-jitsu or pray. If you're fast enough to check the kick, or stable enough that he only sweeps one leg, then the push happens. You're already off balance, be it from checking or having a leg sweeped, and then this guy pushes you with his full body weight. Best case here, you're sweeped. Worst case, you're sleeped. Now, Bob's Rage Drive is not so great. Some of Bob's kit is plagued by fat guy moves, or moves that Bob uses that use Bob's fat body in a kind of comical way that isn't really practical for fighting. Bob's sprinting at his opponent, doing a front flip high enough to be overhead to said opponent, and landing on them with his big fat ass from that height, followed by a second front roll into a stomp, into a third roll to resolve his stance, is something out of a fucking Tom and Jerry skit. The front roll is incredibly difficult because of the height and is probably honestly not possible for most people. The roll is really the only way to get your ass high enough to butt bomb, but just the act of sprinting at and jumping towards a person is enough for most people to dodge. So that butt bomb is never landing. Same problem with the stomp. And honestly, the roll at the end is kind of unnecessary too, as you can just do a technical stance resolve after stomping. Or at least in your dreams you can, after knocking yourself out cold by trying to butt bomb someone. Bob's Rage Art, however, is the epitome of Bob's philosophy of speed and weight. Starting from a deep, powerful bladed stance with a guard not dissimilar to the stance of the Kongo Rikishi, Bob does a deep side-switching reverse punch, allowing for him to advance forward and build up as much power in that strike as humanly possible. Then he follows with a 4-strike rapid barrage of Seiken to the body and face, finishing with an actually easily manageable trick back kick into a front flip punch. You've got to be fast to start the combo because it takes a while for that rear hand to travel all the way over to your opponent. But even if it misses, if you can resolve into that 4-hit combo fast enough, you're golden. The trick back kick is surprisingly easy to do and safe to perform since the airtime is minimum for a massive power boost to an already incredibly powerful attack. And finally, my one critique, that front flip just isn't happening. It's too vulnerable, too telegraphed, and may require a bit of levitation magic. Kinda hard to tell because of the cinematography, but if you just swap it with a Superman punch instead, that's a gorgeous combo that hits fast and hits hard. After reviewing Bob's style through his stance, his 10-hit and sample combos, his throws, and his Rage Drive and Rage Art, I think I'd give the authenticity of his Freestyle Karate a 4 out of 10. Most of his moves are maybe a bit generic, and a lot of his moves are just fat guy moves. But a lot of his karate is great and exactly what you'd see from a modern kickboxing style of karate, a little bit of the old techniques mixed with modern tactics, and some of his tricking is actually really well done and serves a practical use beyond just being flashy, but unfortunately for poor Bob, I'd give the practicality of his style a 2 out of 10 due to it being marred by a little too much tricking that's a little impractically used in his kit and way too many fat guy moves. I get it, it's part of his character, but there's gotta be a better way to include his weight than butt bombs. Like, just use more pushes and belly bumps, those actually aren't that bad if used tactically. Or like some shoulder charges or tackles or something. Regardless, Bob is definitely a master of stringing together powerful striking combos, making use of what he has in the form of his body type, and is an absolute master of speed and weight! Thank you all so much for watching. Tekken is probably my favorite fighting game of all time, so I'd definitely like to do more videos like this. If you guys want to see more of these videos, let me know by leaving a like. If we can get this video to 20 likes in a week, I'll either be doing a video covering the fighter you guys choose in a poll, or one that you guys request. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to subscribe if you did, and let me know who you guys want to see. Alright, I've been Red Fox, the YouTuber, and this has been Martial Arts Analysis. Thanks for watching, peace.